Hello everyone, welcome to APTI Plus Academy for Civil Services. So in this video we are going to discuss the weekly current affairs for the second week of October. So let's begin with the first topic. So the initial topics, they are dedicated to your 2025 Nobel Prizes. So they have been given in various categories such as physics, chemistry, medicine, literature and peace, along with the Sir Riggs Bank Prize in Economic Sciences. So let's begin with the first prize. So the first prize that we will be discussing is the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences. Right. So this has been given to Joel Mokyr, who is from US, Philippe Aghion, right, professor in France, Peter Howitt, again from US. So they have been given the prize of 11 million Swedish kronor, that is roughly around 10.25 crore rupees, right. So this economic sciences prize, it has been awarded for explaining the innovation driven economic growth. So the theme is innovation driven economic growth. Okay, so these people, they have explained that why sustained economic growth, it has become the new normal over the last 200 years. So this was the research area. So the Joel Mokyr, his contribution was regarding the historical lens. So before the industrial revolution, the people relied on prescriptive knowledge, that they knew how but they did not know why the things worked. तो उनको ये पता था चीज़ें कैसे चलती हैं, बट क्यों चलती हैं दे डिड नॉट नो दैट. सो द साइंटिफिक रेवोल्यूशन, सो दैट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड प्रोपोजिशनल नॉलेज, ठीक है, on this understanding of why, right. Then this union of how and why, it produced the useful knowledge that powered the industrial revolution, ठीक है. So the key enabler was societal openness to change, right. So there was acceptance of creative destruction, so that led, so this phenomenon, it was explained by this Joel. Now the contribution of Aghion and Howitt, they gave the theoretical model. So they used modern data and mathematical modeling to explain growth through creative destruction, ठीक है. So at the firm level there is constant churn, ठीक है. Some firms, they fail while new ones, they innovate and then they rise. So this is at the firm level. So at the macro level, this process ensures that there is steady national growth. So this is the theoretical model. So this particular model, it integrates your R&D, your patents, monopoly, profits, household savings, etc., into a general equilibrium framework, and it shows how that all the sectors, they interact in this innovation cycle, right. So we can say that the knowledge creation, this theme was given by Joel Mokyr, market driven incentives and R&D by Aghion and Howitt, right. So what is the policy relevance here? So the it helps us to answer questions like, should governments they subsidize R&D because it can accelerate innovation? So this is one question. Or the second question is that whether they should strengthen the social safety nets to help society stay open to disruptive change. So these are the two questions this particular work, it raises debates upon, right. So this is with respect to the prize in economic sciences. Now let's move to the second one, that is the medicine Nobel Prize. So this was related to the immune system security guards, right. So this was awarded to Shimon Sakaguchi, Mary E. Brenkow and Frederick J. Ramsdell. So these names are also important. Sometimes in certain civil services examination, they can also ask the names. So this has been awarded for their discoveries on the peripheral immune tolerance. So this is important phrase, peripheral immune tolerance. So they explain how the immune system avoids attacking the body's own cells. तो जो आपका ऑटो इम्यूनिटी होती है या कैंसर जैसी बीमारी होती हैं, so it helps us to understand that, right. So what was this what was the central question here? So we all know that the immune system, our immune system, that is designed to destroy viruses, bacteria, pathogens, etc. So how does it distinguish the the cells of the self from non-self? ठीक है, तो ये कैसे होता है? सो बाय द 1980s द साइंटिस्ट दे अंडरस्टूड द सेंट्रल टॉलरेंस। सेंट्रल टॉलरेंस में क्या होता है, आपके जो सेल्फ रिएक्टिव टी सेल्स हैं दे आर एलिमिनेटेड इन द थाइमस. So thymus is your organ which where these T cells they mature, right? So however this particular understanding it does not explain why certain immune cells still attack the body in autoimmune diseases. ठीक है, तो इसका मतलब कोई थाइमस के बाहर भी कोई सिस्टम चल रहा है, मैकेनिज्म चल रहा है, एंड दिस मैकेनिज्म इज नोन बाय द नेम पेरिफेरल टॉलरेंस. तो अब यहाँ पर सागागुची ने क्या किया, दिस डिस्कवरी वाज इन 1995. सो द साइंटिस्ट हेयर दे हाइपोथेसाइज्ड द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ अ स्पेशल टाइप ऑफ टी सेल विच सप्रेसेस अदर टी सेल्स. ठीक है, तो ये साइंटिस्ट का बिलीव था. ठीक है, बट दिस पर्टिकुलर थ्योरी इट लॉस्ट इट्स क्रेडिबिलिटी. ठीक है, 1970s में इस थ्योरी को इट वाज फॉल्सिफाइड. सो व्हाट डिड सागागुची डिड, ही रिविजिटेड दिस क्वेश्चन है एंड ही सेड दैट देयर इज़ अ न्यू टाइप ऑफ इम्यून सेल बाय द नेम ऑफ रेगुलेटरी टी सेल्स, जिसको हम ट्रैग्स भी बोलते हैं, regulatory T cells. So these are basically immune police cells that prevent other T cells from attacking the cells of the body. ठीक है, तो ये वो उन सेल्स को आइडेंटिफाई करने में हेल्प करते हैं. ठीक है, सो एंड देयर एक्शन बिकेम केम टू बी नोन एज पेरिफेरल इम्यून टॉलरेंस. सो दिस इज द सेकेंड लेयर ऑफ इम्यून सेल्फ रेगुलेशन बियॉन्ड द थाइमस. तो एक तो थाइमस वाला हो गया, दूसरा जो दैट इज बियॉन्ड द थाइमस दैट इज योर दिस ट्रैग्स. और जो ये तो था आपका सागागुची का कंट्रीब्यूशन. नाउ रिगार्डिंग ब्रनकाउ एंड राम्सडेल्स व्हाट दे डिड इन 2001 देयर वाज डिस्कवरी ऑफ दिस FOXP3 जीन. ठीक है, सो दे what they did was they studied a mice with scaly skin, severe inflammation and early death which was caused by uncontrolled immune activation. So the scientists they knew that the T cells of that particular mice they were attacking the body tissues, but they didn't know why. ठीक है, सो these particular two scientists they narrowed down their search to a 5 lakh nucleoid DNA segment and they identified 20 potential genes. ठीक है, and ultimately they identified that there was mutation in one gene by the name of FOXP3 which caused this autoimmune response. Right, so these were the applications, so these were the discoveries. So this has applications in cancer treatment, autoimmune diseases and as well as transplantation. Right, so now let's move to the next. This is related to your Nobel Prize in Physics now. So this has been awarded to John Clark, Michael H. Devote and John Martinez. Right, so here this particular prize has been awarded for their discovery of macroscopic quantum mechanical tunneling and energy quantization in an electric circuit. So what the core idea here is that these scientists they demonstrated that quantum behavior. So the quantum behavior, so it was earlier thought to be existent at only the microscopic level. ठीक है, तो इन साइंटिस्ट ने क्या कहा, नहीं जी सिर्फ माइक्रोस्कोपिक लेवल पे नहीं होता, इट ऑल्सो अकर्स एट द इन द मैक्रोस्कोपिक सिस्टम्स. ठीक है, सो माइक्रोस्कोपिक इज मेड ऑफ सर्टन पार्टिकल्स. ठीक है, से वन पार्टिकल ओनली. मैक्रोस्कोपिक दे आर मेड अप ऑफ बिलियंस ऑफ पार्टिकल्स. ठीक है, सो दे कंडक्टेड एक्सपेरिमेंट्स इन द 1980s एंड these experiments revealed the quantum effects in entire electrical circuits. तो जो क्वांटम वर्ल्ड और क्लासिकल वर्ल्ड में जो गैप था, सो दे वर एबल टू ब्रिज दैट. तो आपको बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग पता होगी कि क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स इट गवर्न्स द टाइनी पार्टिकल्स, योर एटम्स, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. ठीक है, सो दीज टाइप ऑफ पार्टिकल्स दे कैन एग्जिस्ट इन मल्टीपल स्टेट्स एट once. So this is also known as the superimposition principle, and these can also pass through barriers. These particles can also pass through barriers. So this phenomenon is known as tunneling. So quantum tunneling, quantum superimposition. So this particular behavior, these behaviors they were not observed in large objects. ठीक है, क्यों? हम क्यों ये ऐसा बोलते हैं, क्योंकि जो ये लार्ज ऑब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं दे आर ऑल्सो मेड अप ऑफ द सेम पार्टिकल्स, सो वाई such a behavior is not being absorbed in them. So that was the challenge here. So these people, they were able to discover that yes, the large particles, they also exhibit quantum behaviors, right? So next, Nobel Prize in Chemistry. So this has been awarded for your metal organic frameworks. So the award goes to Richard Robson, Susuma Kitagawa, Omar M. Yagi. So they have been awarded for the development of MOFs, which are nothing but porous crystalline materials, which are capable of capturing as well as storing gases or chemicals. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली ये एमओएफ्स हैं, ये 3D मॉलिक्यूल स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं, दे दैट आर फॉर्म्ड बाय मेटल आयंस. ठीक है, दे आर दीज मेटल आयंस, दे आर कनेक्टेड बाय ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल्स. सो दीज पार्टिकल्स, दीज फ्रेमवर्क्स एमओएफ्स, दे हैव लार्ज कैविटीज, पोरस कैविटीज होती हैं. सो दिस अलाउस the gases, the molecules to flow in and out of these structures. So they are highly versatile in nature. ठीक है, सो जो द मेटल आयंस जो इनके कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स हैं, दे आर स्ट्रक्चरल कॉर्नर स्टोन्स, एंड द ऑर्गेनिक लिंकर्स, दे प्रोवाइड द फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी एज वेल एज द केमिकल स्पेसिफिसिटी टू दिस कंपाउंड्स, राइट, to these molecular structures. So they have various applications, these MOFs. So they can be used in water harvesting, so in desert air, so to extract moisture from the desert air. So this can be used, right? So this helps in providing potable water in arid regions. For food preservation, right? So they capture the ethylene gas, which slows down the ripening of the fruits, so the spoilage can be prevented. So in the pollutant removal, so they filter out harmful chemicals from water, etc. So carbon capture, so one application is carbon capture, so they can absorb CO2, so this helps in climate change mitigation. And finally, hydrogen storage also, since they are porous, so they allow safe storage of your hydrogen. So this will helpful in meeting our clean energy targets, right? So these scientists, they provided different mechanisms through which these MOFs can be created. So these were the prizes we discussed in physics, chemistry, and your economic sciences and medical sciences. Apart from this, in literature, so the Nobel Prize has been provided to Laszlo this Krasznahorkai. So this particular individual, he is a Hungarian novelist and screenwriter. So he has been awarded for singular prose. ठीक है, so in the middle of apocalyptic terror, so his artwork, it reaffirms the power of art. ठीक है, so the second one, the Nobel Peace Prize, it has been provided to Maria Corina Machado. ठीक है, she is from Venezuela, so she is a opposition leader and democracy activist there. So it has been awarded to her for her peaceful advocacy for democracy and civil liberties, ठीक है, under the authoritarian rule. So this much details are more than sufficient for you people, right? Next topic, so this is regarding India's strategic diplomacy. So basically, the Taliban foreign minister, Afghani foreign minister, visited India. Apart from this, the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Starmer, he visited India. So that is important. So let's start with the India Taliban engagement. So this particular individual, he visited India for almost a week. So this was his first official trip to India, and he met the External Affairs Minister of India as well as other personalities in Agra, Deoband, etc. Though India has not officially recognized the Taliban government, but now they are engaging with them. So this is the important thing, significant thing that should be known. So in the past, India has engaged or interacted with the Taliban on very limited occasions, you can say. So one was during the Kandahar hijacking, if you remember, in 1999 2000. So when the Indian External Affairs Minister Jaswant Singh, he interacted with the Taliban foreign minister of that time. In 2000 also, when this Taliban minister, he visited India, right? So why was that? Because of the Pakistan influence. Okay. So after 2021, जब से तालिबान पावर में आया है अफगानिस्तान में, so there has been cautious engagement by India, cautious engagement, right? So first official contact in this era was when this US exited Kabul. Okay. So we contacted with the Talibani official in Doha. So that was in August 2021. In September of that year, India acknowledged Taliban as the positions of power in Afghanistan, right? In December of that year, we provided humanitarian aid, so that was sent to Afghanistan. Okay. In 2022, technical team was deployed in Kabul. Again, the meetings with the foreign minister of Afghanistan, they began. Okay. So in between this 2022 and 25, there have been series of diplomatic contacts. ठीक है, तो चाहे वो फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी मीटिंग्स हो, चाहे वो फ़ोन कॉल्स हो. सो इंडिया हैज़ मेंटेन्ड, यू कैन से, इंक्रीमेंटल एंगेजमेंट. ठीक है, एक तरफ हम एंगेज कर रहे हैं, दूसरी तरफ वी आर ऑल्सो एडवोकेटिंग फॉर दिस इंक्लूसिव गवर्नेंस एज वेल एज वुमेन राइट्स इन अफगानिस्तान. So what are the reasons, you can say, why now? So this question arises. So first is that Taliban, it is seeking India's help for infrastructural development. ठीक है, तो इंडिया भी कह रहा है चलो ठीक है, देर इज़ अ विलिंगनेस टू कोऑपरेट फ्रॉम द इंडियन ऑफिशियल्स एज वेल. Also the global and regional dynamics, they have shifted now. Pakistan is less cooperative. You must have been going through the current news items. ठीक है, आज भी, कल भी, परसों भी. So there is a tussle going on. So Iran, it has weakened. Russia is preoccupied with Ukraine. ठीक है, so US under 2.0, it is, you can see how President Donald Trump is has different opinion towards things. And China is also expanding its influence in Afghanistan, so India cannot remain behind. So there is a need for India to protect its long-term investments and also to have security influence there. So we cannot sit outside, we have to be in the ring and we have to engage. ठीक है, so this is regarding India's Taliban engagement. So you should know the analytical part is more important. Then we have the India UK partnership, right? So the Prime Minister Modi had visited UK in July 2025. So when the India UK FTA was signed, so that this visit is a reciprocal visit, right? So that is the significance here. So it was a short trip of 2 days only, right? And the background is important. So we all know that how much the Indian diaspora lives in UK. So almost 3% of the population is there. Almost 65,000 companies, they are owned by the Indian diaspora, right? So what were the agreements signed in July 2025? So the comprehensive economic and trade agreement was signed, Vision 2035 document, defense industrial roadmap. Okay, so the trade between the two countries is approximately 56 billion, right? And it is targeted to double by 2030. So this is important. Then the CETA, the trade agreement, it provides duty free access to almost 99% of the Indian exports by value, right? So these are the different economic cooperation. Then in different defense cooperation, there would be co-design, there would be focus on co-design, co-development, co-production of defense products. ठीक है, जहाँ पर हम जेट इंजन्स हुए, जॉइंट एक्सरसाइजेज हुई, पोर्ट कॉल्स, टेक्नोलॉजी कॉपरेशन, उन सब पर फोकस रहेगा. Then in case of education and skills, so the UK universities, they will be establishing the campuses in India, like in Gurugram, the University of Southampton, right? So there will be mutual recognition of academic qualifications of the each country, respective country, right? Then in research and innovation, so there is a biennial bilateral research program by the India UK Science and Innovation Council, right? So these kind of engagements are there. So the important thing here is the free trade agreement. ठीक है, उस पर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, एनालिटिकल क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, सो यू शुड बी थोरो विद दैट. Next, the Sharm el Sheikh, the summit, as we all know that the peace plan, we discussed this in the previous video as well, the Gaza peace plan by the US President Donald Trump. So that has become effective, right? So this particular summit, peace summit, following the Gaza war, it was held in Egypt, at this particular place. So this was marked by the hostage and detainee exchange. तो बेसिकली क्या हुआ था, इसराइल ने जो भी पैलेस्टीनियन डिटेनीज थे उनको रिलीज़ किया, हमास ने जो हॉस्टेजेस हैं या किसी की बॉडी है उसको रिलीज़ किया. सो द यूएस प्रेसिडेंट ही डिक्लेयर्ड द वॉर टू बी ओवर, ठीक है, एंड ही पोजीशनड हिमसेल्फ एज द मीडिएटर, राइट. सो दिस hostage or the detainee swap, this is the first step of your 20 point plan. तो ट्रम्प का जो 20 point plan है, पीस प्लान है, उसका पहला स्टेप है hostage exchange. So the remaining challenges now, they are more difficult in nature, like disarming of Hamas, ठीक है, this is one. Second, security in Gaza, reconstruction, governance, तो इन सब के ऊपर ज़्यादा फोकस होगा अब, ठीक है. So rebuilding of Gaza, so because majority of the infrastructure there has been demolished, the population has been displaced, so they require aid and rehab. So rebuilding Gaza, governance, this question arises that who will govern Gaza now. Hamas govern करेगा, Palestinian Authority govern करेगी. So this is a challenge. Then with respect to security, the international stabilization forces, they will need the cooperation from Hamas, ठीक है. So the Hamas has still now not agreed to disarm, so this is important. As lastly, what about statehood to Palestine, ठीक है, so there has been no tangible commitment with respect to that, so this is important. So there is a need to keep a tab that how the things they go on with respect to this particular topic. Then Trump tariffs. So recently this US President Trump, he announced 100% tariffs on China in addition to the existing tariffs. So he said these would be effective from November 1. So basically what was the reason that China has put some restriction on its rare earth these minerals export, right? So as well as on the critical software. So in response to that, these tariffs were imposed. Also the president, he cancelled the meeting with Xi Jinping. तो APEC summit के दौरान ये meeting होने वाली थी, so that was cancelled. So we all know that what are rare earth these minerals. So they are basically 17 chemical elements which are crucial for your say electronic industry, for your EVs, defense, weapons, etc. And China, it dominates these REEs. Almost 70% of mining, 90% of processing, and 90% of magnet production all over the world occurs in China, ठीक है. तो चाइना ने रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगाया, उसके बाद ये कॉन्सिक्वेंस हुआ कि यूएस ने टैरिफ्स लगाए. सो again we need to keep a tab on this because recently yesterday only Trump, he softened his stand and he posted on the X platform, right, regarding the same. So he keeps on changing his thought process, you can say that. So again one topic that you need to keep a tab upon. So apart from these, there were certain other important news, like private sector they will be involved in conservation of India's heritage. So basically the private sector, that is your corporate, your PSUs, they will now be allowed to fund as well as manage the conservation of your heritage sites. So apart from this, certain impaneled conservation architects, they will be guiding these private donors, right? So their focus would be on monuments which date thousands of years back, right? So this is here. So these contributions now they will be considered CRS expenditure, and there would be 100% tax exemption. And these donations they will be routed through your national cultural fund. ठीक है, so this fund was established in 1966, so उसके through route होगा, right? So this was one. Second, the UNESCO's virtual museum confronts tonal art. So basically UNESCO now what it will do, this particular virtual museum, it has been the basic objective here is to confront the illicit the trafficking of cultural heritage. ठीक है, तो उसके ऊपर फोकस रहेगा. सो द मोटिव हेयर इज दैट द कम्युनिटीज़ विल बी रिकनेक्टेड विद देयर स्टोलन कल्चरल ट्रेजर्स. तो जैसे कि इंडिया में कॉलोनियल पीरियड के थ्रू कितना हमारा कल्चरल ऑब्जेक्ट्स दे गॉट स्टोलन. ठीक है, तो टू फैसिलिटेट अवेयरनेस, डायलॉग, रेस्टिट्यूशन एंड फाइनल रेस्टिट्यूशन, तो उस पर हमारा यहाँ पर फोकस रहेगा. सो देयर वुड बी 240 missing objects from 246 countries that would be put on display. ठीक है, so this particular project, this virtual museum, it has been financially supported by Saudi Arabia in collaboration with Interpol. तो इंडिया के जो आर्टिफैक्ट्स हैं उनमें से एक है जो महादेव टेम्पल, दैट इज़ इन छत्तीसगढ़. वहाँ का वन नटराज स्कल्पचर इज़ देयर एंड वन ब्रह्मा स्कल्पचर. ठीक है, देन रिगार्डिंग इंडियाज़ 4G स्टैक. ठीक है, सो द प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिसेंटली ही हाईलाइटेड द unveiling of India's indigenous 4G stack by BSNL, Tejas Network, TCS, as well as the Center for Development of Telematics, that is CDOT. ठीक है, so this particular stack, it is designed to provide seamless connectivity to your remote areas. ठीक है, for example the areas which have been left behind in this digital revolution, तो वहाँ पर we need to provide technology, seamless connectivity. Also India aims to make this technology export ready, क्योंकि चाइना का डोमिनेंस है आपके जो डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड है वहाँ पर जो टेलीकॉम्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है. सो टू काउंटर चाइनाज influence in those emerging markets, so India is coming with its indigenous technology. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर वेरियस कंपोनेंट्स रहेंगे लाइक रेडियो एक्सेस नेटवर्क विच विल बी डेवलप्ड बाय योर तेजस नेटवर्क्स. Then the core network, it will be developed by CDOT, so it will form the backbone of that entire telecom structure. ठीक है, so these kind of components are in this indigenous 4G stack. Next, the youth-led protest in Morocco and Madagascar. So basically following your Nepal, Philippines, Indonesia, so these are also Gen Z protests. And the important common trait in all these youth protests is that these are social media driven. So the coordination is also going through social media, like platforms like Discord, Facebook, TikTok. These are being used, ठीक है, where they put grievances over the quality of life or the inequality they face or the elite domination they face in the society. ठीक है, so these two countries, they are having economic inequality, political dynasties, and then unemployment of the youth, lack of representation. ठीक है, frustration with what has been promised versus the reality. So these are the root causes why these protests are occurring. So here a little bit of the geographical knowledge also you should have, that where this Morocco, Madagascar they are located. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा बहुत geographical idea you should be having. Then and this La Nina 2025. So La Nina, we all know that it is the cool phase of your El Nino southern oscillation. So what is the mechanism here? So basically the stronger trade winds, they push warm waters to your western Pacific. Okay, so as a result the eastern Pacific it cools down, and this alters the global atmospheric circulation. So because of this we will be having colder temperatures as well as snowfall in northern India. ठीक है, सो यहाँ पर अपना रेनफॉल इंक्रीज होता है, टेम्परेचर घट जाता है, राइट. So this is the outlook with respect to 2025 in India, winter in India. And lastly the IIP base year revision. So basically the new base year would be 2022-23. So this will be aligned with the GDP base year now. So the product basket that would be updated, right. So the sectoral coverage it will be increased, so that your minor materials they can be included, minor minerals, gas supply. So there will be better classification. ठीक है, तो जो आपके नोट एल्सवेयर क्लासिफाइड वाले 276 आइटम्स थे, तो दे विल बी रीअसाइंड. Then there would be factory substitution. So basically there would be systematic replacement for all the closed and changed factories, and it will be seasonally adjusted series, so that there would be a better analysis of the trends. ठीक है, so these are the topics that I wanted to discuss with respect to your week 2 current affairs. So in the subsequent video we will be taking the week 3 current affairs. Thank you.